One thing I can tell you this: being molested started me on a path of uncertainty. Uncertainty in who I was, uncertainty of if I could, I don't know if I could be loved, but it also sent me on a path of searching. The other thing that sent me on a path of searching was how I was treated when I was young by my mother. I was always looking for my mother's love in other women. In retrospect, I can see that, but I think that is why I had such a difficult time. I know that's why I had such a difficult time, because of being molested, but also because I never felt accepted by my mother in those times. Now, today is a whole different story. We've talked about everything that we've been through. We've talked about how I feel. I still feel as if some of growing up, my mother used to say, I didn't never wanted any stinking tail girls. And her saying that, fast tail girls, stinking tail girls, that played a part in developing and shaping me into who I am, who I was back then, because I said I wasn't going to be fast, and I wasn't fast, and I wasn't messing around with a lot of boys. I messed around with women. And so I always found myself wanting to please my mother, and I never felt as if I ever pleased her. As far as in regards to affection and showing affection and things of that nature, I didn't receive a lot of that from my mother. And so I turned to, and I'm not faulting my mother. I'm not saying it's my mother's fault or who I am. I'm saying the lack of affection and how I was mistreated played a huge part in who I am. I can't sugarcoat it. I have to be honest. If I was treated with love and affection, I think I wouldn't have went through so many of the hard times that I went through. But if I had my mother's love, if the way I wanted to be loved, not the way my mother knew how to be loved. And that's the thing. My mother lost her mother at the age of 12. So it was hard, growing up and living with my uncle and my aunt, which, molded and shaped her to who she is, and when you have parents who, or people who, if I taught my kids, if I didn't never hug my kids or never loved them or showed them that I love them, then they will have a difficult time, but they will also pass that down to their children. So it's just it was a cycle. And I want you to know that as a parent, you have so much power in the development of your children, and you have to be mindful of that. I know a lot of things that I endured, I would not have endured if my mother and father approached things differently. When I was young, we always went to church every day, and going to church every day and then going home and hearing arguments about money or about things that goes on in church, especially about things that went on in church, had a negative impact on me. It made you not want to go to church, not want to participate. And then I had I went through a phase where I was like, if God is really real, then why don't he pay all our bills and my mother and father wouldn't have to argue? And why is this? Because, and why is that? So, yeah, the molestation was a huge, my pastor always says there are point of impacts in your life. And if you hit a car, you'll see where that car was impact, the point of impact on the car. And so in my life, the point of impact in my life was, bam, me and being molested. The other point of impact in my life was, bam, my mother, the lack of love or affection, that the affection that I wanted to have, not that she wanted to give me, but, or knew how to give me, but that was like, bam, another hit. The point of, and then homosexuality and how I was treated being a homosexual by my own family was a bam. And so what it did was it built up this facade. It built up this person. It built up this mask that I had to wear because my heart was so exposed, and the people that I loved the most treated me badly, treated me like I was a nothing, treated me like I was nasty, treated me like I wasn't anything. And those were the point of impacts in my life that just could have destroyed me. But since God was with me and I was resilient, it didn't. And I'm going to keep it real. I remember being 15 years old, 16 years old, on the street, slicing my wrist with glass. I remember I lived with my girlfriend at a point in time, and she was going out having sex with men and leaving me in the house. And I remember just living on the streets, living with my friends on the basketball team, going house to house, and their uncles trying to touch me, and their cousins trying to touch, male cousins trying to touch me in my sleep. I remember all of that. And I've had a traumatic life, but I know that I'm okay. I'm good.